But if you're minded at this stage to refuse the application, please indicate. This is only your mindedness. Right, okay, fine. Right, now we will therefore go to the various reasons for refusal. And may I take it that one of the reasons for refusal, a member has indicated that he would vote against this application because of the absence of affordable housing. Can I please ask you, how many of you would support that failure to provide the full 40%, given the advice you were given about viability? How many of you would support a refusal on that ground? 2? Fine. That is not sufficient, so I don't think we can advance that as a reason. On the question of the cycling provision and the adequacy of the cycling provision, how many of you are minded to refuse on those grounds? That is a majority, so that will be advanced as a reason for refusal with sufficient support. How many of you are minded to refuse on the grounds that the community facilities are not adequate for the residents who will occupy the apartments? That is also a majority support. How many of you are minded to refuse on the grounds that the design of the buildings is not suitable for this context? Again, the design issues. There are...
I'm trying not to be unhelpful, Chair, but Councillor Tony clearly referred to the design of one of, I know you're not taking a split decision quite rightly, but you referred to the design of one of the two buildings under discussion, and I think it needs to be more specific and clarified as to what we're in the overall scheme, if someone's opposing on design, so well, what they're actually proposing.
If we disallowed the split, then I'm afraid the scheme as a whole, I mean, if there's any feature of the scheme as a whole that you cannot support, then I'm afraid that, you know, is your ground for refusal.
And may I ask, through you, Chair, if the point that Councillor Tony was making was concerning the materials of the K1 building, or both the materials and the actual design concept of it, because I think it wasn't clear to me.
Well, I think the materials question was raised, and the office has sounded fairly accommodating with respect to what might be done about that. Am I right in that respect? Yeah.
Through you, Chair, I think the design issue is quite a difficult one to just say whether you would refuse or not refuse on design grounds. I think there's been some discussion about design, but if you do end up at that point, we can need to be very clear about what is wrong with the design of the buildings, not just they're not right for this context. It needs to be specifically in terms of what is wrong with them. I think that's quite a difficult one to kind of take an overall approach to. And it is obviously going to be important if you do end up with a refusal, that you can, in that refusal, take a view that one of the buildings is acceptable and the other one is not for particular reasons. That's not the same as a split decision.
I would also like to say that with the adjournment protocol, there will be a longer period than is presently possible for the discussion of the implications of the decisions which have been made, and you will come back and face again the question of whether or not to refuse this application. So I don't want to spend time now infinitely going over matters which we can, during the adjournment period, consider, if that's considered to be possible. But my impression is that we are minded to refuse this application on the grounds that I have specified: the affordable question, the cycling, community facilities, and as some design concerns. And I think this is probably the point at which I would say to you that I now recognise what the grounds for refusal are likely to be, but it's for you the point of decision. If you vote to refuse this application as it stands in its entirety, then the decision, we will then go into the adjourned decision protocol. It'll come back to you at some future date. In the interim period, you will be advised of the implications of your anticipated decision, and you will be in a position either to confirm that decision or to revise it. Now, having given you that advice, I want to be satisfied by both the Senior Development Manager and by the Legal Officer that I have given you adequate advice. Can you please do that? Are you satisfied with the advice which I have given members?
Yes, I am, Chair.
And are you?
Sorry, Chair, I'm not completely clear. You are, I think we're now saying we're invoking the adjourned decision protocol. So a vote needs to be taken on the use of the protocol in line with the resolution. However, before you do that, I'm sorry, but in the terms of design response, we need to know what we're being asked to look at in terms of justification for refusal on those grounds. So I'm afraid we are going to prolong the debate, so we do need to know about that detail.
Okay, right. Well, then let's try and pin down these design objections. I don't want, if you like, any further argumentation. Can you be specific? Or those of you who have spoken on the design question, will you please be specific on what the basis is for your objection to the design? Councillor Tunnock.
One reason is it breaks the coherence of the square. That would be one of my reasons.
Sorry, that's one of your reasons. What are the others?
This is getting more and more like an interrogation. It's a failure to achieve what this square deserves, which is to surprise and delight. This building, the one we're talking about, K1, fails to do justice to the setting. It does not enhance the mill, which is, I consider to be a very important aspect, and it does not enhance the rest of the square.
Thank you. Are there any further specifications of design objection? Sorry if it sounds like an interrogation. We've got to get this right, because if we don't get it right and it goes to appeal, you know, there are consequences. Very good. Now then, on the grounds specified as a design objection,
Chair. So, Chair, I think you need to ask for support for
well, I was
design.
just about to do that, Councillor Benko. On the grounds that specifically mentioned, the design objections by Councillor Tunnicliffe, and no others have been suggested, would you reconsider whether on those grounds you feel the design objection is strong enough for refusal? Please indicate if you do. Right, so they go forward. Are you satisfied that you now understand the grounds for the objection?
Yes.
Right, so now we have several grounds for objection. They are the affordability, cycling, the community facilities, and the design question. Sorry?
Sorry, Chair, not viability or affordability.
The affordable housing provision was raised as an objection, but didn't get
It
support.
didn't get sufficient
Fine, okay, right. So, yes, sure, thank you for that correction. So we're left with cycling, community facilities and design questions as the three supported reasons for refusal. Now, I'm going to put it to you to the vote. Those of you who are minded to accept the officer's recommendation of approval, please indicate. Those who are minded to refuse the application, please indicate. That ends our discussion of that issue. We are now going to have a comfort break of 5 minutes. Thank you very much.